have done video editing before? Well, I love that. Okay, great. How many of you have shot video on your phone? Okay, what do you do with it?
It's still on my phone.
It's just still on your phone. Okay. So my goal is to give you tips on how to use your phone to get good photos, to get good video clips, and then to use iMovie to blend them together and do some interesting things. I want to do that the fast way today, so that's going to go kind of fast, and want you to sort of follow along and try things as we do, because there's no I screwed up, there's only I tried something. And I have been, in prepping for this, every time I click a different thing in the Apple iPhone, I find a new menu of new things I didn't know was there. So I want to get you the ones that you will actually use more frequently, because you can do some really, really neat stuff. Let me show you. Oh, and by the way, and in the end, I want you to be able to get that and deploy it on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is you or your family or your friends use, so you can sort of get things out there. I want to show you, and I'll give you this document will come out to everybody who gets their name on my laptop with their email, so I can send it out. This is my most watched video. It's not my best. Sweet potato pie, purple sweet potato pie.
Broke off a little bit there, but there's the inside of this potato. I got him out of the ground. Give you an idea just how big he is. It's like one of those Star Destroyers.
To just show people how to make the pie. Now, how would a lot of people shoot that video? It's a how-to video. What do most people do? Talking heads. My earliest videos, and I'll give you links, it's like me in the garden, talking heads, not moving. It's really boring. I said almost nothing in the video, and yet I conveyed through quick shots of photos and short video clips everything from how you suspend them in water to get them to grow roots, how you plant the roots, how you then come out in the fall and harvest the potatoes, and then just in the images showing how they get converted into pies. And that's had, I mean, I'm not a big-time internet guy, but that was like 3,000 some people watched that video. I don't know why. Like, I think puppies are better, but that's what gets out there. But you'll notice that there are some mixtures of photos and video that you don't have to be on camera and talking. In fact, it's often better if you don't. And I'll show you one more example. What do you notice about the style of the video? The music. So you always want to think when you're capturing video of angle, right? And so I spent a lot of time with my phone telling it to record, and I would hold it down and have him let him run around, and out of 10 minutes of footage, you're just going for what's that 3 to 5 second clip. So one strategy, you're going to overfilm, overphoto, because you're just looking for what's that brief thing, what's the 5-second comment somebody made, that makes the point. You don't need them on there for a minute. When you look at the angles, when you look at the slow motion effects, when you look at music selection, and I'm going to show you how to do all of that, you can really create a nice sort of mood. The other thing, rather than show all of the footage of a particular thing in the story, break it up. You notice that I would show he's on the stairs, and then he's at the mirror, and then he's back to the stairs. You want to do your videos in that way as well. Sort of, you can lay out everything in the way it happened, but then sort of mix things up a bit because it keeps people's attention. And that's probably a longer video than you want to do. You can do shorter videos. Okay, what's the attention span of the average internet viewer today? 90 seconds is probably...
No, I said 9 seconds.
9 seconds, yeah, that's... and we can prove that. So one of the things that I did is when I started shooting videos for my classes, I would share them through YouTube. One of the cool things about YouTube is when you post a video there is you can see how many people watched it and how long they watched and when they stopped watching. Right, so you can sort of watch a graph and you can see after usually even a minute or so you have a big drop off. Okay, let's start walking through some things. We'll start with photos. Now, when you're looking at your phone, everything means something. A note on Apple's design philosophy. Apple is a minimalist software design. And I'll call it just in time. Meaning, there are all kinds of options, but they don't show them to you until you're in the position to use them. Okay? So when you look at this screen, you see there's these things down here, and there's the button that captures stuff. This is where it goes. What's that one do? It flips the camera back and forth. What do these do? Right? So these, on mine, you may not have all three, but these are your controlling your zoom. You may not have all these things. But I'm going to show you something here. So you see there's these three buttons, the 2, the 1, and then the 0.5. You see what they do. But here's a neat trick. I'm going to put my thumb on them. And it became a big wheel. And that's how you can zoom way in.
Where did you put your thumb?
So if you have the little 2, the 1, and the 0, or the 0.5, you put your thumb there and it brings up a menu. My point is not that you will all have this. It's that touch everything they show you, because you just never know what has a thing that's like, oh, that's a great way of controlling this. Let's go see Kathleen there. There she is. Different versions of the phone will have slight differences. Let's talk about the modes. So you have photo, portrait. Do you know what a portrait? Who's got portrait? Okay. The newest phones have portrait. Do you know what a portrait does? I need a volunteer. There we go, brave volunteer. So I'm in portrait mode. Come closer. And you see, notice it says it in the top center. Move closer. There you go. Okay? And I'm going to put my thumb right on your face there and it'll zoom in. Okay, thank you. Now watch what I can do here. I'm going to click on the photo, take me into the photos. I'm going to go up to the edit button. And I'll come back to the editor more, but you see that 4.5 up there? Next to there's a yellow spot. If I click that, it's going to bring up this slider right here. Okay? Now watch the background of the photo.
Do you have an aftermarket editor?
No. So this is on a newer phone. So this might not be on all of them.
This is the latest.
I'm just not used to that.
This is the latest phone. So depending which version you may have that. But one of the features of the newest phone, if you have portrait mode, is they call this bokeh. Blur out the background. You see it has a nice effect. It really draws your attention to the subject of the picture.
You say that's
I'm in photo. When I'm in photo, do you see on the top right of my screen there's a little circle up there? Okay? Do you know what that means? That means live photo. So, my volunteer again. Most of you should have live photos. I can't. Ready? All right. Now let's see how this turned out. Live photos and portraits are incompatible. So if you're taking a photo and live is on, it can't be in portrait and vice versa. And here's why. When you do a live photo, and here it's not showing up on the big screen, but on mine it says live when I'm actually in the editor. If you put your finger on it, when a live photo actually records like 2 seconds of video. Okay? Now watch this. When I enter the editor, and I'm sorry that it's not showing you the edit button, when you have a live photo and you're in the editor, the little live icon, that's the same thing that you saw that told you live was on, is there. And when I tap that, it's showing me the whole clip. And if I move, wherever I put my finger here, see how it says make key photo? It'll make that frame the photo that it shows. Do you follow me? So with live photos, you can get like that 3 seconds of somebody standing there, and you actually have multiple options to choose from in the editor.
And once I select that shot that you like, does it throw away all of the others?
Nope, you can come back in later. And so let me show you. I'll make this a key photo, and then I'm going to do something else. I'm going to hit this. This is one of the most important buttons. Crop. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to know about crop. The most important thing before you... Everyone wants to go in here and, if I put my finger on the white line, I can drag it, right? You know how to do that? Right? So I can do this. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because if you do that, you're changing the dimensions in a random way. If you instead... See the little squares up top? When I touch those squares... it brings up these options. And I'll just show you, like if I wanted a 16 by 9, it'll crop it to 16 by 9, 10 by 8. Right? So if you're going to use something you're going to print, and you just start moving your finger around, you're going to get something that isn't going to print right. However, this is the one I want you to know most importantly. Original. Original tells the editor to lock the proportions to the original photo. So now when I grab this side, do you see how it's perfect? The top and the bottom move in the same way. I can't mess it up. It'll still be the same proportions of the original photo. You like that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay. Now, while I'm in here, where it shows for you, upper left, cancel I don't want to hit. But do you see those next two? Right? The one that has the first one of those two, I'm going to tap. See what it did? It flips the video, or the photo from left to right. The next one over is flipping the angle. Because have you ever taken a photo and it came in upside down? This is how you fix that. But it's amazing how people don't know to do that. So that is, just make sure everybody understood, that flips it end to end, and that rotates it so you can get it right. This is, and I don't know if everybody has this, but this is telling it to be like widescreen. I'm going to tap that other one for a second. And when I switch it, it just made it long way. Do you see that? Widescreen, long way. To wrap up this one, let me just zoom in. And I'm just using my finger to move this in as I kept it in original. So the proportions are right. And I get my subject. Now let me show you. I just pressed this button, and that brings up different kinds of editors. This is all too complicated for even me to understand. What's nice? That is Apple's automatic, we'll just fix it. And you see it set the brightness and it does all those little things right there. Now when I click this one, I can scroll through some different color options. So it makes it a little bluer, more dramatic, or towards the bottom you can make it black and white. I want to show you one other thing that's an advanced play area that I'm not that experienced with. See the triple dots? Ever press those? Markup. What is markup? So it's telling me markup turns off the live photo, right? But that's okay. This is markup. I have a choice of pencils, pens, erasers. I can choose a color for any of those things, and I can use and you can write on it. Right? So you could write a little message. There's also a plus button. Okay? I'm going to hit the plus button.
Could you say how you got the markup? Once more, how you got that?
In the editor, there's 3 dots.
I got it. All right.
Now, when I hit that plus, it's going to let me insert a text box where I could type in words. A signature, which I have a signature saved, so you could sort of drop a signature on it. Magnifier, so you could blow something up. I want to point to this bubble right here. Do the speech bubble. I can grab those blue corners and shape it. And then I'm going to pick the plus and do the text. And then I put my finger on the text and drag it inside the bubble, tap it, hit edit. Type video editing. Anyway, did you know it could do that? No. Not something you would use every day, but you can play around with that with those pencils. You can do colors, all kinds of things. I just wanted to show you it can be done. Now, this is me in the photo. I've edited my photo. But if I ever go edit and see the revert button? So revert will always go back to the original photo you took.
Bottom left.
Yeah. And if you widen it, it'll realign.
Okay, that's cool.
So it takes some finagling,
And I just changed the color to white.
There you go.
which works on TV.
Yeah. So, I'm showing you more stuff there. Okay. So,
I think it's the same for most phones. And then
I just did it. On mine, I don't have a home button, so I push the button on the right and the button on the left at the same time. And when I do, it takes a photo of what's on my screen.
But if you have a home button, it's the home button and
Right? So it's that up in there, and then it brings up the slider, and you can blur out the background. It's a really useful.
that's only on the newest ones.
And here's a good example. So I took this today, and that's the regular photo. So I was walking on campus, and I was like, boy, isn't it supposed to be winter? There's that. This is just a regular photo. So you see, it's just as clear in the front as it is in the back. And then this was just a portrait of the same space. And you notice the further back you go, the more blurry it is. And I could make it more blurry. In fact, when I was playing with it, that tall green became blurry if you put it on maximum, and it really only lets you see the front. But that's another neat trick when you want a photo of someone and the background's not where you want people's attention drawn. That's only portrait. So, I'm going to give you a few more things, and then I want to have you do something. When you take photos, how do you hold your phone? It depends. By default, when you're recording video and things, hold it the long way. All right? when you hold it this way versus this way, because this will get you more that way, this gets you more that way. But especially video, you often want the horizontal view because it's like your TV, it's wide screen, right? If you've ever seen one of those videos where the right and the left side are cut off, it's because somebody was it's convenient to record video that way, but you often then just get a not what you really want, which is usually you want more this space than up and down. Talk a little bit about lighting. When you're doing lighting, you want your subject lit from their front, right? So if I was going to photo you, the light should be where? Behind me, right? You may say, oh, it'd be great to get a photo of somebody in front of the sunset, right? The problem is, like, if you've ever seen those, it's very hard to do because they look too shaded in the front. So when you're taking a selfie, you want the light bouncing off of you. When you're taking a photo of them, make sure the light is coming off of them. One of my worst videos, and I gave it to you, I have this wonderful interview with this young man in Costa Rica, but he was a very white guy wearing a white shirt in a white room, and then had a ceiling fan going. And so the whole thing, the audio was bad, and it looks sort of angelic with this, because you could not get it where you could see him and it just didn't work. So you always want to make sure you have some lighting where your subject is lit from the front. All right. Other photo modes. You ever do panoramic? All right, let me show you panoramic. All right. This is really kind of hard to do, but let me show you what that looks like. Not very good in a classroom, but it's great if you're like on the top of a mountain and you want to get what everybody sees. So that's a panoramic shot. It's extremely long. Yes. And one of the joys of cropping, right, is you can always just zoom into any part of a photo. So one of the tips to shooting photos is don't feel you have to zoom in on your subject. Right? You want to get extra space so that you have some wiggle room when you edit to say, I want it to be here. I want to move them a little bit left of center or right of center. So we've talked about pano, portrait, photo, time-lapse. I was on Oak Island this fall, and I was going for walks every sunrise, and it was so beautiful. So time-lapse simply is taking one shot every few seconds. Right? And so I just put my phone on the beach and then just sort of guarded it while this happened. But that was about an hour. I just sat there for an hour, and I'm resting. These are the waves where it's eating away the sand, and I just put the phone there and just let it go. You have to see the HD version. Whoop. That's my puppy. So a time lapse. I'll give you an example. I'm going to time lapse. See if I can time lapse you guys. And watch the red icon. You see the little white lines going around? Yeah. It's letting you know like how frequently it's shooting. So it's every now and then it's going to take a shot. And sadly, you're not moving, so it's not going to do much. But that time lapse of those few, that was like, you see, it was almost nothing. Because time lapse is really like your clouds going by. I mean, you're going to let it run for a few minutes to get that sunrise, sunset. But it's a great effect, and it's better than what some people do is they video something and then fast forward it. Like that's not a good way to do it. One other mode to talk about: slow motion. Okay, slow motion is really neat, and I wish this flipped, but it's telling you it's 240 frames per second HD if I film this. So who wants to move up here? All right, Let's see. Okay. Now let's see what we got. Thank you. And, oh, don't film under these lights, apparently. When it's filming that many frames, it's actually picking up the flicker that we don't visibly see. But you see what it does. So this is like if somebody's doing some action shot, you can get that moment where the skateboarder is jumping or something like that. Here's what I want you to know about slow motion. It's a nice effect, but you can do it in editing too. If you think when you have video, you can make that video play faster or slower. So don't think that, oh, I should have if you know something's going to happen, video at slow-mo. But if you didn't, know that you can fix that in editing.
But you don't get as many frames per second.
You don't get as many frames per second. But given that we are not producing Hollywood films, right? Yet, right? We sort of, it's if you know something's going to happen, but oftentimes it's you were shooting a video of somebody decorating the Christmas tree and then they fell over, knocked everything down, and like it was hilarious, and then you want to slow it down. You weren't shooting it in slow motion, so you can do that in editing, and I've done that as well. I'm going to show you one other trick, which is as we start moving into video, one of my boys and I do agility, right? Dog agility. So we go and we run tunnels and things. And I had somebody capture a video, but it's too long for people's attention span. So what can you do to make it more interesting? And that's what I did. And that's my boy. But just keep it down to a few seconds, you get the idea. But that is simply changing the speed of a video after you capture it. Okay, you all got a photo. Let's talk a bit about videos. And some of the big things in videos, just remember, you can do a lot of editing with them. So when you shoot video, somebody else want to be my volunteer? Do something creative. Thank you. Now, I've just shot that video. I'm going to tap the video in the screen to go into the image. There's the video. And I'm going to hit edit. Okay, so that's what I captured. Now, I let it go. You always start a little early, let it go a little long, because you just never know the chunk you're going to want. But the first things, when you go into the video editor, again, this is not iMovie. This is when you hit edit on a video you've captured, you get these options. This is your play line, right? So if I'm going to just take my finger and move it around down here, and you see that line, they call that the play head. That little white line, that is the same in iMovie. That is what you're seeing up here is where that line is there. So you can kind of scroll through and see the video. But you see the 2 points on the end, right, the 2 arrows. One of the most important things for you to be able to do is if you grab a point, I want my video to end right there, and I want it to start right there. So now the video is just there to there. So when I hit done, and now it brings up 2 options. I can save the video or save it as a new clip, which gets to what you were saying earlier about if I wanted to keep the old version with videos, it lets you do it. So I'm going to save as a new clip. And then now I just have this short clip version. So, but if your question is, can you pull a photo from a video? Sure. Sure. And one way to do that, but when you put in a video, there's like a way of getting it to hold, where it'll just hold a piece of the video and like basically turn it into a photo, right? And that's how you could do that. Let me show you another. There's also a crop button. These do the things we've already seen, I'll show you again. So this one allows me to hit that magical, it'll just automatically change the brightness a little bit. That's fine. And that would, I could change it to black and white or make it a little bluer or a little redder, something like that. But this one, of course, gets into your cropping tools. And again, the ones in the upper left, you can reverse the video. You can rotate the video. Someone was asking me what these do. Like if I take this second one here, what does it do? It does it's like bending the video. I don't know. Somebody asked, what would you use that for? I don't know. I haven't used it, but that's what it's there for. It'll have a use, probably not something you do on a daily basis. But I'm going to hit the boxes up top because I want to go and hold the original frame, and I want to grab these white corners and crop my video down. Right, so you can crop a photo. So now, but the thing to remember is the whole video has just been cropped to that image. So if somebody moved further out, you would lose them. But let me hit done. It's going to save it. So it works. So that's a nice thing. Again, when you're shooting video, you don't have to worry about zooming in on somebody because you can crop it later, and it gives you options when you can crop it. So, we had a puppy in December, and I shot this.
Hi, baby. Baby Noel. Baby Noel. Baby Noel.
This I did entirely on the phone. Okay. I gave you links to a ton of these puppy videos, but with iMovie, which is I'm going to show you next, iMovie is on Mac and it's on your phone. It's not the same. On Mac, it can do far more powerful things, and it's far more complicated to learn because of that. But on the iPhone, you have a lot of functionality, and it's actually really powerful, but not so complicated to use. So, iMovie is free. You should all have it. And I'm going into it. It looks like this. So everybody find iMovie? Okay, let me show you what it would look like. You're looking for the little star icon. It's a free app. If you bought a phone in the last few years, you should have it on there already, or you can get it. When you go into iMovie, the first thing you need to do is make a project. To make a project, we're going to hit the plus button. Projects come in two versions. This is a trailer. A trailer is going to be like they've pre-put in all the effects and you're just dropping in video images and things and it makes it look all fancy like you knew what you were doing, except trailers, everyone has the same trailers, so if you use a lot of those, people are like, hey, I've seen those before. We're going to go with movie. When you hit movie, it's going to take you to these recent photos and things you've taken, right? But if you hit media, you'll have the option to go, this is in moments, to go to your videos, your photos, or your albums. So basically anything on your phone, photos, videos, you'll be able to get. What I'm going to do here is just select a few things, and we'll take that photo and, let's see, that video, and then I'm going to throw in a little extra by going 3 and 4, just because. The order you tap only matters in this sense. The editor will place them in the order you tap them. So the first thing you select will be the first thing showing up in the editor. Can you move them? Yes. But if you know the order you want, tap them in that order. Then, when you're ready, create movie. And I'm going to show you what I have here. I've done nothing to it. You've seen what I selected. And here we have, that's where you're going to be able to watch it, but this is where all the editing happens. And the white line will move through the video. I'm playing it. I'm pausing it. Wanted to show you a couple things. What did you notice going on up here? Let me try that again. Pay attention. What's happening? This, and I love this audience because I think the kids don't get this reference, but I suspect you might. This is called the Ken Burns effect. Literally, you'll see it listed there, the Ken Burns. If you watch the Civil War documentary or any of these things, this is like the dude is famous for just taking a photo and making it interesting by just slowly panning by it. By default, any image you put in there will have Ken Burns on, and it's actually really good because it keeps your eye and your viewer's eye on attention. There's my playhead. See, I'm coming to the end of the photo. See that little thing there? That's called a transition. Now it's automatically put one in there. But watch what happens when that white line gets to it. Did you notice? Look right. You see it? Now, I'm just going to do things totally just out of order, just so you get a sense of what's possible. If I tap that little thing, right? So I just tap that little thing that it put between, and you should do this on yours. It brings up a menu, and I'll walk you through it. This would allow you to select, do you want the transition to take a half a second, 1.5, or 2 seconds? The default usually is pretty good, but if something bothers you visually, you can select it. You can choose between none, theme. Apple has themes, like comic book or something else, and themes make all the effects look like the thing it's a theme of, news, what. It's defaulted to dissolve, but let me show you if I do none. No theme means when it hits the end, it's just going to be a sharp cut. You have one thing, then you have another thing. If I do slide, watch this. Just one thing slid in over the other thing. Wipe is going to be like that, and fade One thing fades to black, the other thing fades in. As a general thing, I find that the dissolve actually works pretty well. There's times you don't want to do things. For example, if you're recording a video and you're talking and you said something wrong, or you and you want to edit that out, like don't have it, put in an effect there that just draws attention to it. Just do a quick cut of you're here and then you're there and the sentence continues. Okay, what else can we do? Okay, this is a great example of what I said, is if you see something, touch it, and then you get a new menu. So if you, I'm going to touch the little icon in between, and that's what brings it up. This right here, right? Now, I want to do something else, which is I tapped this photo. Okay, when you touch it, you see it's done. It's highlighted it, and it's going to give me some information. 5.5 seconds. That's how long that photo is playing in the video. It's also telling me up here, Ken Burns enabled. If you tap that, Ken Burns would be disabled, and it would just be a static, not moving photo. What I want to do, okay, I'm going to click off. I'm going to put my finger on this, and then that menu comes up. Okay. Touch down here on an item, and it'll select it. And once I select it, I'm going to now grab that yellow end with my finger and slide, whoops, grab the end here and slide in. You see that? And I'm down to 5 seconds for 3 seconds. So that's like cropping. I've just shrunk the amount of time the photo is displayed to 3 seconds. What that allows me to do is take that's a photo. So I'm just determining how long it's in. If it was a video, you could delete the beginning or the end. But if your is in the middle, we have a different issue. We're going to get to that. I wish I was paid by the and the So, notice something else. The bottom left. When you select an item, it brings up this menu. This is telling you, it's highlighted, it's telling you you're in the cut, so you could delete the chunk, or you can duplicate it if you wanted to copy a chunk. These are grayed out, but the T is not. And by the way, those two are grayed out because this allows you to adjust the speed, but since it's a photo, there's no speed to adjust. That allows you to adjust the volume, but it's a photo, there's no volume to adjust. But this is T for text, or title, as you were. And having selected the clip and hit T, I now have the option of what title style I want. So just watch them do what they do. Second from the right, focus. And then you see what it did. Title text here. I'm going to tap title text here. Brings up an editor. Whoop. Okay. I'm going to hit. Ready to see what I just did? Here we go with the play. Okay. So that's how you add a title, but you pick the style and the text. Oh, and I should show you one other thing. When I'm on here, there's a T in the upper left of the first bit. You see it? That's telling you there's a title on it. This is also why you might want to duplicate something, because the title lasts as long as the...
Can you have more than one line in the title?
Some titles have more than one line.
For example?
Some of them do let you move the title around, right? This one, some of them are restricted because this one is doing that animation. It has to be in a certain spot. All right, now to the video. Okay, so let's select the video. I don't want a title, and I don't care for the sound, because we didn't really say anything in the video. So if I click the sound icon, it brings up the volume, and if I take my finger here and just slide the volume down to 0, it'll mute that sound. So when I did those puppy videos, there were times where the puppies were making a sound I wanted, then I would make sure the volume was up. There are other times where I don't want the volume, and I would just mute it. So you select it, and then you move the...
Where am I selecting? Hold on.
If you tap the video,
Okay.
and then you should switch to that menu. Now, I want to talk about the ums. This is how you fix the ums. This next bit is very useful for a couple of reasons. Fixing is one. Let's say that in the middle here, there's something I want to cut. When you select the image, as I have, you see it's highlighted, the video, and then you go back to the scissors, you see split, detach, duplicate, and delete. Split. Okay? And now you see I have the first chunk of the video and the second chunk of the video. I'll show you the music in a bit. Note, there's a transition. This is a straight line transition, means there's no transition. So if I play this, you will not see any difference in the video. But once I split it, I could grab just that half, and if this is where I said that's how you get in a clip and delete it. But here's the other thing you can do. Why you want to split a video. If I want to use a title, a bit of text, but I don't want it to sit there the whole video, if I split it, now I have a chunk that I can put a title on, and I can put a different title on a different chunk. So that's how you have different things pop up while someone or something is happening. And for this, I'm just going to choose standard. Yeah, it's auto-correcting me. So, whoops. So I just hit out. I'm going to hit edit again, go back in. And now, let me show you what the whole thing we have is. We have an opening, transition, title, and then the title disappears for the second part. I have a nice Ken Burns transition there. Let me take this. Oh, my little chubby fingers going all over the place. Why is that? It is a lot easier on an iPad, but guess where you have your best camera? On your phone. That and we all look weird when we're out there like this trying to photo things on a big pad. But I'm going to shorten this down to just 3 seconds. And this last bit, I'll show you this last bit. This last bit is a pan from my office. And the joy of it is, this is the one thing I love about my office. I actually have a pretty decent view down the street. But that clip is too long. So I'm going to select it. And I'm going to choose the speed. And now when you collect speed, tortoise, rabbit. Any confusion as to that? But freeze. Who had the question about can you take a video and pull a still? See, if you have a chunk of video, say, I want this to freeze. It's useful for a couple of reasons. One, to get that still image you want. But the other is sometimes in your video, if somebody's talking, you can actually, I've done this, video freezes, and then the voiceover says, what I should have said here was, right? And sort of you can correct your. So let's make that go really fast. So double that. Okay. Now let's go back to, I want to do some fancy things now. Let's go to the plus. Let's go to audio. The plus, do you find it? In your editor, okay. And then I chose audio. Now, this is important. There's 3 places to go. One of them you don't want to go if you're going to share your video. Where's that? My Music. Because if you choose My Music and you pick anything, YouTube, Facebook, they scan it and they'll flag you for copyright infringement and they'll block your video. Like that. Here's something you do need to know. Sometimes they scan your video, flag it, and block your video, and you used an Apple song. You have the right to use all your Apple songs. If you choose sound effects, let's try one. And it's just dozens and dozens of things that I'll get there. I'm just showing you, like, you can drag little sound effects. We go to plus again. What you want are sound tracks, because sound tracks are all Apple copyrighted and you have the fair use to use them. On occasion, you'll get flagged and then you say this is not actually copyrighted stuff and they go away. Facebook has done that to me a lot. See, there's a pop section, there's a playful section, so let's just try this one here.
So I can put that on my video without any fear of repercussion.
Those are from your iPhones?
No, these are Apple, free for you to use in music in any videos you create. So let's just pick something. You're not going to know any of them, I don't think. So you see, if you pick one, you can hear it. This is just telling you that it has to be downloaded first. But if I hit this plus, it drops it in. Now here's the magic of this. Every one of these songs, even though the song is a certain length, you see the green is the sound, it'll automatically place it and it'll alter it so that it ends just when it should. Yeah, you're paying for all this great stuff you didn't know you had. If I tap the song, I could now come in and shorten it. So sometimes in my videos you'll hear I change songs. So what I'm doing is I'm actually dropping a couple songs in and then making one in the first part, one in the second. Also, when you tap a song and hit the volume button, you can control the volume of the song. So sometimes you want a loud song here, a quiet song there. But I'm going to leave it. There's a fade button here, so you can have it like fade out at the end if you wanted. Let me see what that does. All right. Let me just play what I've got. Ready? What happened there? No, even worse. It made the music quieter because when I did my pan in my office, it was recording audio. Now I've turned that off. So if I come back, and the music doesn't. So this is Apple, the genius of that software, right, is it would know if you have a talking part in your video that the music should recede to the background a little bit. Yes?
Back to her question, though. Is there a way to get any music other than the insipid stuff that they provide us?
Yes. Look, if I hit plus and I go to audio, if I hit My Music, it's anything it's anything I have in.
I have to have it in my app. I can't use my Amazon music.
I don't think so.
On your album.
Right.
I have to add to my Apple account.
So you can do that. It's just my message to you is anything that's a copywritten, sold piece of music, if you upload it to the Facebook, those automatically are scanned, and when they identify a piece of copywritten music, they just block your video. That's a nod like you know, right? It happens, right? And so what's really helpful is if you stick with the Apple stuff, you know you're not going to have that. I mean, I'll tell you, I had an Emeritus Society class that I recorded and shared with the students on YouTube, and it got blocked because in the background there was just a couple of like 10-second bit where somebody had a phone and it was playing some song while I was talking. But because it picked it up, it blocked my whole 2-hour lecture. They don't play. If you have a recording and it's in your Apple Music, try it. But these scanners, I mean, I've had it where they detect things and they're wrong. I mean, it's just they're comparing. If you're a musician, you know, like sometimes 10 songs may sound alike they're not perfect.
Is there any arguing with them if they flag your video?
Yes, so I've had Facebook in particular flag several of my videos for using the Apple stuff, and then there's an option in there, if you certify that this is not a copyright violation, click here, and then it goes through, and I'm sure that means it has to go to some actual person to review, and they realize, you know, and because the thing is, it's not even close. It's like it'll detect, like, that's not even the right type of music, but to do. Okay, let's go back and see if there's anything else for us to do in the video. So we have shown you how to add text, how to do transitions, how to change the speed of a video, how to split a video, how to crop the ends. In the pre-editor, not in iMovie, we showed you how you could zoom in by cropping down your video. So there's some work sometimes you want to do before you import to iMovie. I also want you to see the gear button here. This is an undo button. So if you do an oopsie, you hit that and it'll like undo whatever the last thing you did. Don't hit it too many times or it'll undo your whole video. Hitting the gear brings up this whole menu. And this would allow you to do filters. So you could make the whole thing sort of black and white if you wanted. Themes. There's a modern theme, a playful theme, a neon theme, and that'll give you like specialty things and it'll all look coherent. Each theme has a soundtrack that goes with it. Fade in from black will tell it that your video should sort of start from black and then coming in. And you can fade out to black, and then speed changes pitch. So if you've sped up a clip, the audio will get more like, sounds like the Chipmunks from decades past, right? I have to show you a couple other things. And then, remember, iMovie is just taking what you have and putting it in there. So you could use any app to capture things, and I'm going to show you one before the end of today that we'll try playing with next week. Any video that you capture or image, you can import it and do more with. But let me show you what I did here. Hitting the plus on the left side there. I showed you moments, video, music, and albums, and audio. But if you do plus and voiceover, okay? Watch this. This is a test of the voiceover thing. See the blue line? This is a test of the voiceover thing. Again, do you get why you could use that? Right? I mean, and like this, you didn't need to have this grand plan, like, oh, I wish I would have said this here. You can add some things in text, add some things in audio.
Can you increase the volume of your voice?
I just selected it, and I'm tapping volume. 500%. I don't know how loud this will be. We'll try. It kind of blew out the sound. Generally, you don't want to do that, but yeah, you have that sort of fine-tuned controls. Let me pause for some questions. Here's the key things about iMovie. You can add text. You have the Ken Burns effect on your photos. You can make them last longer, make them go shorter. You can trim things, splice them, add different text to different parts. You can add music. You can add voiceover. Any questions on that? Did you know how to do that before today? Because we need to work a little one-on-one. I haven't even gotten to the end of all of the iMovie things you can do. There we go. All right, I'm going to take this right here, and I have my playhead on it. I go to plus, and I want to add, let's find something interesting to add. Oh, there's a puppy. Puppies are good. And when I click the puppy, there's the plus, and then you see the 3 dots. If I put it in, notice, green screen, blue screen. That's some high-level fancy stuff. Split screen means you'll divide the screen either that way or that way, and it'll show 2 things at once. Picture-in-picture means you get to make one small and appear on top of the other in any corner or something. Or cutaway. Cutaway means whatever you just added, that's what it'll show you, but the audio of the other video stays in there. So if you're talking and then you put a cutaway of a puppy, the image will go to the puppy, but your voice will stay in there because your voice is attached to that other video. So to give you an example, let's do picture-in-picture. And now, there's my little girl. And if I select her, I should be able to, let's see. Oh, let's see. That just put a white border around the image. The one above it, I want her to be up here and pinch to resize. Whoops. And then the plus thing on the top, pinch to zoom. So that's going to allow me to change the size of her there. So let me be moving this here. And here's the finished effect. Do you like that? Now let's do another one. Putting this here, let's try no random reasons. I'm at a basketball game. And let's do split screen. And now it's actually video on one side and a photo on the other. And that, if I select it, I can make it left, right, move it around. I'm just hitting those little arrows up there. Have a little white line between the two or not. I can resize it in there. All right. So, my video is a bit of a mess, but this is what I've got. And that's with no plan, just throwing things up there, seeing things you can do. And you guys know what green screen is? Green screen allows you to change the background. So if I took this laptop right now, I know how to do this really easily, and I went up against this blue wall and told my laptop, change the blue wall to this video of waterfalls, and then what it does is it notices that color blue, and then it just inserts the waterfalls, and then if I come in behind it, you'll see me in front of the waterfalls, as long as I don't match the blue. So green screen is how you can, so for example, from instructional purposes, if you're a French teacher and you have photos of France, well now you can be doing your videos anywhere you want to be with France behind you, even though you're in your office. And I do those kind of videos, and now you can do it in the iPhone. So when you say the weather people, right, that's how they make the digital thing appear behind them too. I want to show you one other fun thing that's not part of iMovie, but that's the iMovie basics. Another app I want you to get, it's called Clips. Have you heard of it? This is Clips. It's a new Apple thing. And this, so that's me, but I'm going to hit Scenes. Neat, huh? Watch out for that guy over there. But as you can see, like it's wherever I turn is what it's showing. Now they saw me coming though. They've got one in here. No, I'm a Star Destroyer as a hologram. And then what you can do, hello, I'm here on a Star Destroyer. Mm-hmm.
Hello, I'm here on a Star Destroyer.
My point about that is like there's an app that has dozens of backgrounds, including not just video. I was showing you video. They have like posters, or like they make you look like you're a cartoon. I mean, they have all kinds of things, and you can do photos with it, and then add text and thing, or you can do image, and then once you have that, you save it to your photos, and these apps would know how to just move it over there, and then you can put it into iMovie with anything else you would want to do. Questions? Now, the number one thing is you've got to try it. And so, while we still have 9 minutes, I want to give you your assignment for next time. Because this was all, I rushed this because I didn't want to get it in front of you. I want you to, one, make sure you have the Clips app and actually just try playing with it a little bit.
It just says Clips.
It should just be Clips, made by Apple, no one else. I'm giving you, I just keeping you just with Apple stuff that's free that they make. But what I want you to do for next week is I want you to come back with a video project.
A video what?
A video project. I want you to take photos, videos, modify them how it could be anything you want. Puppies, trees, golf courses. I want you to come back. Could be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute. Don't go anything longer than that. And just be prepared to plug in and show us what you made. And so next time, rather than me just showing you a bunch of stuff, I want you to come in and say, here's what I made. Here's what I want to do that I couldn't do yet. Here's where I got stuck. Let's talk about some other things you could do. So I want you to actually make a project. And also by the end of next time, we're going to make sure that you can get that project, if you want, out to social media and how you could do that, whether that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube or something else. Other questions? Concerns? Easy?
Easy peasy.
How many of you think you could do this? Practice, good. Yes?
Is there a link for
No. No. I've shown you videos from 15 seconds to 2 minutes. I would stay under a minute. What you're doing is simply coming up with something to share. When you're editing your video and you're done and you hit done, you get this project. And you can play it here, right? You can go back into editing, but this icon, you should all recognize this if you use Apple stuff. Do you know that one? It's like the sending thing, right? So you're telling something to go somewhere. When I tap that, I could save the video and it would save it to my Photos app as a video. You can save it to your Files folder. So if you use Mac, that's how it would just automatically put it up there. But if you look at all of these, AirDrop would allow me to send it to any one of you on your device. Facebook, you can send it right from here to Facebook without ever going to Facebook. Instagram, YouTube, etc. And that's how easy it is to get your video out. What's so impressive about this, and this is new, 5 years ago when I did videos, like you couldn't do this stuff in iMovie, not on a phone. Right? You could do stuff on a Mac and then get it places, but right now that you can shoot and record and edit and add these special effects and do split screens and green screens and voiceovers and then just get it out there. I mean, you don't need a computer. And you can make some really great things. As we're over time, I'll stick around and chat if anybody has particular questions, but I do hope that you have found this valuable. This was a box of chocolates for me. I had no idea what I was going to get or how it was going to go. But I encourage you, play with the phone later tonight. The more you just sort of pick it up and try different things, the more you're going to remember. And I look forward to what you create next week. Thank you.